Tonight, I wish to remind each of you that Rapture is your city. It was your strength of will that brought you here, and with that strength, you shall rebuild.
For habitual gamers, the word Bioshock carries a certain level of respect and admiration. When it was released in 2007, players were given a one-way bathysphere ticket to a world that completely redesigned the way we look at first-person shooters. Although it's hard to deny the success of the original, will 2K's unsuspected sequel sink or swim? For those of you unfamiliar with the franchise, both Bioshock games take place in the city of Rapture, a utopia hidden beneath the sea that was built in the mid-20th century for the best and brightest the world had to offer. Unfortunately, the discovery of a gene-altering substance known as Adam led to the development of plasmids and gene tonics, presenting citizens with numerous superhuman abilities, but deteriorating their mental stability and physical appearance with every splice of their DNA. Flawed government, organized crime, and years of mass splicing have now left Rapture in ruins, and just about every last resident is either completely psychotic or no longer human. In Bioshock 2, you take on the role of Subject Delta, a prototype of the iconic Big Daddies whose sole purpose is to protect the Adam-infused girls known as Little Sisters. These creepy little girls collect and recycle Adam from corpses that now litter the halls of Rapture, and yours is missing in action. Unlike other Big Daddies, you possess free will and the ability to use plasmids, and what starts as a simple search for your little sister quickly escalates to an all-out war for control of Rapture. As the game progresses, the story becomes more and more complex as you discover secrets about your past and the past of your little sister, Eleanor. But although the game does an excellent job of keeping your interest, it still can't hold a torch to the outstanding storyline of the original. Don't fret though, Bioshock 2 has quite a few jaw-dropping scenes and plenty of subtle moments that'll put a smile on the face of any fan. Even if the story seems a little lacking, Bioshock 2 truly steps up when it comes to gameplay. A brand new arsenal of upgradable weapons and a whole arrangement of plasmids make fighting for survival a blast. Just like in the original, every encounter with a group of enemies can be handled in any number of ways. You can run in, guns blazing, or hack the security systems, allowing you to take out a room of splicers without getting your dive suit dirty. In the first game, upgrading a plasmid like Incinerate simply increased damage and burn time. Now, you'll be happy to find you acquire entire new abilities with your upgrades, such as insect bombs, chain lightning, and even the ability to combine certain plasmids. Hacking is also greatly improved. The old Pipe Dream minigame has been replaced with a new real-time event that keeps the flow of the game moving, and the new hack tool allows you to break into a bot from across the room. My only problem with all of these badass upgrades is that they completely destroy the feeling of vulnerability that was constantly present throughout the first game. I mean, come on, I'm a Big Daddy. That's like the top of the Rapture food chain. Well, at least it was until the introduction of Big Sisters. These new foes appear every so often, and the battles that follow them are epic, as well as fun. If you thought raising a moody teenage girl was rough, try dealing with one that has telekinesis. The moral choices presented in the sequel are also much more challenging. In the first game, whether you decided to rescue the Little Sisters or harvest them for their Adam determined whether or not you got the good or bad ending. Although choosing the path of evil gave you more Adam, it simply wasn't enough to lure most gamers off the path of righteousness. This time, however, being a goody-goody is much more strenuous and time-consuming. After defeating a Big Daddy, you're still given the option to harvest its little sister, but the alternate choice is adoption. If you choose to adopt, you can only obtain a satisfactory amount of Adam by carrying your little bundle of joy to corpses that they can drain, which of course attracts wave after wave of splicers. If you're hoping to finish this game looking like a saint, you have to put in a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and a lot of trap bolts.
Daddy, you always save me from the monsters.
Online multiplayer was introduced this time around, and I'll admit, I was very skeptical at first. The game types are all pretty standard and fun to play with the inclusion of plasmids, and the Versus mode allows for character customization, as well as leveling up your stats and acquiring new weapons and power-ups. It's all very entertaining, but I just can't help but feel like its popularity will be short-lived. Overall, I feel like Bioshock was a standalone game that really didn't need a sequel, but I won't deny the fact that I had a lot of fun revisiting Rapture a second time. With that said, let's go to the breakdown. Story earns an 8.5. It's almost unfair to compare the plot of Bioshock 2 to its predecessor, so just try to think of it as the most elaborate DLC ever made that also happens to have a great storyline. Design gets an 8. The improved in-game graphics, beautiful cinematics, and chilling score are all very impressive. Gameplay levels out to a 9. The single-player experience has been tremendously enhanced, and the multiplayer is a nice touch as well. One thing Bioshock 2 is able to share with its older sibling is a mastery of presentation. Rapture is an entity that you will find yourself completely immersed in. That part of you will never want to leave. A perfect 10. However, Any game that relies heavily on a single-player campaign will always be somewhat lacking in replay value. But the addition of multiplayer, as well as several alternate endings that range from bittersweet to downright disturbing, helped Bioshock 2 get away with a 7.5. Overall, I'm awarding Bioshock 2 an 8.5 out of 10.